Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my page, Money Making Juggernaut. I'm your host, Eric Richardson, the #1 educator in the asset recovery business. Today, we're going to discuss the difference between state funds and surplus funds. All right, so this is a great video. You guys are going to want to make sure that you watch the entire thing so that you can understand the difference, so that when you're actually working this, you can have confidence and knowledge. All right, before we get started, guys, go ahead and hit the like and hit the subscribe button. You guys know I'm coming out with content for you guys so that you can be successful. Surplus funds and state funds are not the same thing, guys. This is a misconception. A lot of people do not understand that. We need to understand what unclaimed state funds are, and then we need to understand what surplus funds are. All right, so unclaimed state funds, guys, these are going to be unclaimed funds at the state level. Okay, so this is going to be held at the State Treasury Department. So this can be many reasons why they actually have money. Okay, this can be unclaimed checking accounts, unclaimed savings accounts. Okay, so let's say, for example, somebody switches banks, they forget their money. It might sound bizarre, guys, but there's over 60 billion in America of unclaimed state funds. Crazy, it happened. Another way that it can happen is if somebody is deceased, they pass away, and now that bank account is there, it's going to get reported. So meaning that their heirs can actually go ahead and take over those funds. Okay, unclaimed stocks, bonds, mutual funds, insurance payouts, escrow deposits, any type of overpayment to the county, electrical bill. Sometimes I even saw people entitled funds from PayPal. There's so many different reasons. Okay, basically, when an institution retrieves funds that are due to an individual or entity and nobody claims it for a certain time period, they can't just hold on to those funds. They actually have to report that to the State Treasury. Okay, now when the money is held at the Unclaimed Property Division, the State Treasury, they're typically going to have a website. All right, guys, if you're interested in learning the 50 state guide for unclaimed funds, I do have a course on that, or you can get the large course that has everything. But the Unclaimed State Funds guide is only $50, so that's something that you're going to get knowledgeable in all 50 states. You're going to learn what it takes, paperwork, things like that, so make sure you check that out. But in regards to working state funds, the first step is understanding the difference. All right, now with surplus funds, this is going to be the surplus, the excess, the overbid amount remaining after a foreclosure. So it can be either a tax deed foreclosure or a mortgage foreclosure. Basically, what they owed on the property is going to be the opening bid majority of the time, and then once the property sells for a higher amount, that's going to leave the surplus. Unclaimed state funds and surplus funds are different things. Okay, the first step was understanding that they are separate things and what the separate things are. The next thing that we need to know is how the money is available. Okay, so with unclaimed state funds, typically you can go on the State's Treasury website. If you're doing Florida, it's Florida Treasury Hunt. You can go on that website and you'll see that they have an area where you can search last name, first name, city. You can hit search and then it'll pull up. Okay, some states might have a full directory where you can search individually or based on a name, and then others might actually provide you a list. So if you're looking to assist people in this business, there are a few states out there that will actually provide the list online, like California and Arkansas, for example. If you guys are looking to work unclaimed property, California is probably the easiest to get started because they're so transparent. They give you the list online for free. Arkansas, you just pay $25, you'll get that list. But ideally, you want to work with transparent and easy to operate at the beginning so you can get your feet wet. Okay, surplus funds, we know that we can get leads from that either directly from the county. They might have their own list, or you can prepare your own list, or you can use many of the strategies that I teach in the training to pull a list. But it's very simple. On the unclaimed state side, you can either go on the state's portal, you can search individually, or you can obtain a list. You can also obtain a list by requesting that from them. Sometimes they can give it to you in a CD format or a file, and then you'll be able to pull up all the individuals that are entitled state funds. Now, not every state is going to be nice enough to give this to you. Okay, so you want to work in those states that are transparent. Like I said, if you get that 50 state guide, you will understand which ones are transparent and that you can work in. Surplus funds side, you can literally go to Google and type in surplus funds and you'll pull up lists. We have to understand the expiration times. Okay, surplus funds have an expiration period. Okay, they're not always going to be held at the county. Some counties cheat these funds to the state, meaning that the funds then turn from surplus funds into state funds, and some counties counties also actually keep the funds for their budget. If you guys haven't watched the video, I went to San Diego's tax division and I communicated with them. After a year, they actually get to keep those funds for their budget. So some counties are like that. Some states are like that. If you don't file your surplus funds, they get to keep it. Most states, after some time, they'll actually just report that to the state property. So surplus funds can turn into state funds and you can still assist them. So it's very important that you understand about the S-cheatment. That's what it's called, S-cheat. The next thing that you need to understand when doing surplus funds compared to state funds is going to be the regulations on third-party assistance, okay? Not every state is going to be nice enough to give you all the information on what it takes to be a unclaimed property division specialist, okay? Some will actually have this on their FAQ side. So if you go to the unclaimed property division, you click on FAQ, they'll have it in small writing, making it a little bit harder to understand. Some states do require you to become a registered finder. Very simple to become a registered finder. You fill out the form, you provide the information. Sometimes you might need a background, you might need fingerprints, things of that nature. Majority of the time, you are gonna have to get registered somehow, some way. Either a registered finder or PI. Not all states require you to be a PI. It's very few that they do. And if you do need to become a PI, you'll see what it takes to become one. It's not something that you need to go to college for, or that you should be afraid that, oh, I can't do it because I need to be a PI. If you need to do it, you can become one, and you can actually use that to your advantage by listing out on your website that you are a PI. Now, third parties for surplus funds, typically there really is no regulation. Some states like Texas, they don't really work with third parties when it comes to the tax oversight, mortgage foreclosure side, you're good. But typically there's no like, oh, you have to be a registered PI or a registered finder for surplus funds, okay? We're just offering a service where we can help people fill out their claim form and we get paid a percentage. Pretty simple. All right, so it's very important that you know the regulations and difference between third-party assistance on the state side, third-party assistance on the surplus funds side. Also, you need to know the proper protocol. So if you do become a registered finder on the state side, I recommend calling the actual state department and have a conversation with them. Like Massachusetts, for example, if you're looking to help somebody and you're a registered finder, once you contact them and inform them, you do actually have to reach out to the office and they'll actually send the claim form to the client. They have very strict regulations. You want to make sure that you're in full compliance so you don't get in trouble, okay? Also, some states do make it that you can't contact people until 24 months, 2 years has passed. So it's very important, guys, that we read all of the statutes, all the regulations if you're doing that business, because you want to do the business proper and the correct way. The next thing we want to understand is the percentage charge. This is something that a lot of people get confused. This percentage that you can be capped at in regards to state funds and surplus funds are completely separate, okay? They're not the same thing. You might see a state where it says, oh, you can only charge 10% if you're helping somebody on the state fund side. That does not apply for tax overages and mortgage foreclosures. So it's very important that you understand the difference in state funds and surplus funds and the percentage that you can charge. Once again, if you get the course, there's a 50 state statute guide that will list out all the statutes in all the states so you can know if there is any cap in the state that you're working. All right. The last thing, guys, is the filing process, okay? In surplus funds, the filing process is going to be different by each county. They're going to have their own claim form. They're going to have different protocols. They might accept originals. They might accept fax. They might accept emails. It's going to be different. For state funds, the good thing is you're working one state, okay? So they're going to have their process. Now, typically, a lot of this stuff is done online. They have an online portal where you can go in, you can claim. I highly recommend doing a Zoom with your client so you can screen share and go over all the information. Now, typically on the state fund side, they are going to need a social. On the surplus fund side, it's very rare that counties ask for the social. So this is why it's recommended to do a Zoom call so that they can feel comfortable and see that you're a real person. Another thing is payout times, guys. Typically with unclaimed state funds, you can get paid out in under 60 days. Usually 60 days is a sweet spot in which you can get paid. And surplus funds, it can all vary. If you work in mortgage foreclosures, sometimes you can get paid fast. If you're working tax overages, sometimes it can be prolonged. So you need to make sure that you understand the filing process. The state is going to break down exactly what's necessary, and most counties for surplus funds will break down what's necessary as well. So if you guys are looking to only learn state funds, you want to get your free webinar, the state funds course is $50. You can check out the link in the description. If you guys want to just get the whole asset recovery system, you can use code TAKEACTION. You get $100 off. You're going to learn about tax overages, mortgage foreclosures, and state funds. All right. So I'm looking forward to helping you guys out. Make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like and hit that subscribe button as well. Looking forward to helping you.